Hello everyone, this is Alex, wishing you a peaceful and energetic day. But imagine this situation with me. While I was busy working, my phone suddenly rang, a call from an unknown number. On the other end of the line, a serious voice rang out. Just got into a strange man's car and took him to the farm. At that moment, thousands of questions rushed into my head. Who was that man? Why did nhat take him to a place that belonged only to the two of us? Between them, was there a relationship that I had never known? My heart was pounding. I was worried, jealous, and suffocatingly confused. Was nhat hiding a secret? Or was it all just a cruel misunderstanding that could destroy this budding love? And then I asked myself, if you were in that situation, would you choose to believe, or would you let doubt sweep you away? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the dramatic moments where sweet love can turn into misunderstanding, and just a glance is enough to shake everything. Let's follow this story with me. In the living room, I woke up very early. In front of me was a thick notebook filled with numbers. I was calculating the shipments of fruit that had been exported: mango, dragon fruit, jackfruit, and even several baskets of freshly cut avocados. The numbers were dry, but to me, they were not just money, they were sweat, effort, and our hope for this farm. While I sat with pen and paper, at the farm not far from home, nhat had already started a new day. I could clearly imagine each familiar movement. She got up when it was still dark, went to the chicken coop with a basket of rice in her hand. The sound of chickens flapping their wings, the rustling sound of rice falling, combined with nhat's soft voice, created a familiar village melody. Not stopping there, she went straight to the pond, throwing handfuls of bran onto the water surface. The waves spread out, the fishes swam together, the pond surface lit up in the early morning sunlight. Just thinking about it made me feel relieved, as if I was reliving my childhood by the river. We each with our own job, but connected like two halves of a picture. I took care of the output, while she took care of each flock of chickens, each fish pond. That harmony created a simple yet happy rhythm of life. However, right in the middle of that peaceful scene, I suddenly felt a vague uneasiness that was hard to name, like a thin gray cloud drifting across the blue sky. I didn't understand why, but my intuition told me, sooner or later, this peace would be challenged. Without thinking much, I stood up, took the key, and stepped out of the car. The engine started, the rumbling sound broke the silence. The car left the villa, taking me towards the familiar road leading to the wood workshop. Today, the workers were off, so the scene was even more quiet. I stopped the car, pushed open the rusty iron door. The sound of the hinges creaked, long, echoing in the empty space. Inside, it was covered in dust. But strangely, everything was surprisingly neat. The shelves were lined up, the tools lay still as if they had never left the hands of the workers. I walked slowly, each step seemed to touch the thick layer of dust of memories. Sometimes I closed my eyes, I thought I could still smell the strong scent of pine resin somewhere. See the sunlight shining through the old tiled roof, shining on the newly cut wooden bars. In my mind, a thought flashed. Maybe it was time to revive this place, breathe new life into it. I imagined that one day, the woodworking shop would be lit up again, the sound of saws would be heard again, and who knows, that would be the turning point for both me and nhat. But at that moment, the phone in my pocket vibrated. An unknown number appeared on the screen. I hesitated, then picked up the phone. An urgent voice rang out. Do you know? Nhat just got into a strange man's car. They are on their way back to the farm. I was stunned. My ears were ringing. My hands were shaking. The peaceful images of the morning suddenly disappeared. A series of questions rushed in. Who was that man? Why was nhat with him? And why had she never told me anything? At that moment, My heart pounded as if it was about to explode. A wave of anxiety and jealousy surged through my heart. I knew that the piece, just now, was just a fragile picture about to shatter. I stepped on the gas. The car rushed forward like a wild animal freed from its shackles. The road to the farm should have taken only a few minutes, but today, every second seemed like a century. Images poured into my head. I saw Tuna sitting in the strange car, her face tilted towards the man. The sunlight through the glass window shone on her soft hair, and she smiled. That smile I used to think it belonged to me, now sparkled in front of another man. I shivered. Then my mind conjured another scene. The car stopped in front of the farm gate. The man got out first, walked around to open the car door for Tuna. She slowly placed her hand in his. It was a light touch, but in my imagination, it became a long, meaningful squeeze. That image was like a knife, cutting straight into my heart. I gritted my teeth, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly that they turned white. But the imagination did not stop. I saw them walking side by side, entering the yard. The man bent down slightly, whispering something that made Tuna laugh. That clear laughter used to be the most beautiful sound in my life, but now, it rang out next to someone else. Then the paranoia took me further. I saw them sitting next to each other in the kitchen. Tuna, making him a cup of tea like she did for me every morning. I saw him accidentally touching her hand when receiving the cup of tea, and Tuna did not immediately pull her hand away. I saw their eyes meet, filled with a strange light that I had never seen before. I almost choked. Each image, though just imaginary, was so real that it made my blood boil. The last scene, the most terrible, appeared like a nightmare. I saw Tuna turn to look at me, her eyes calm. Then she softly said, "Sorry, Alex, maybe our love just stops here." I was stunned. My heart felt like it was breaking. I shook my head vigorously, trying to get rid of those cruel visions. But the more I tried, the more they clung to me. I knew, in just a few seconds, the truth would appear before my eyes, and that truth would either tear my heart apart, or give me back the peace I had. My car had just stopped suddenly at the intersection leading to the farm when I saw a figure hurriedly walking out. It was him, a stranger. He walked very fast, almost running, his shirt still covered in dust, his eyes avoiding each other as if afraid of catching something. In the moment we passed each other, I could clearly feel the smell of sweat, the urgency, and a little bit of tension. I turned back to call him, but he didn't stop. His back gradually disappeared behind the road full of dry leaves, leaving me with a series of unanswered questions. I walked into the farmyard. Tuna also came out of the house, her shoulders shaking slightly when she saw me appear. I didn't beat around the bush. Who was that man just now? Tuna looked up, her eyes slightly surprised, but then quickly regained her composure. She spoke softly, almost in a whisper. "Just an old friend, Alex. You're worrying too much." Old friend, the two words fell into my ears, both like a consolation and a dull knife cutting into my heart. I wanted to believe, but it was the way he walked away in a hurry that made my heart tremble. I looked at Tuna for a long time. Her eyes were still clear, without any wavering, but I felt that there was an invisible wall between us, a wall so fragile that it could have been created by my own doubts, but it was enough to make my heart heavy. I asked myself, if it was really just an old friend, why didn't Tuna explain more clearly? If everything was clear, why did that man quickly avoid me like someone afraid of being exposed? And if I continued to doubt, would I be the one who would destroy this relationship? Loving someone is giving them trust, but sometimes, trust becomes a string that binds the heart, turning it into a hostage in the game of fate. I looked up, looking at the small house in front of me, where Tuna was avoiding my gaze. And the question echoed in my head, so clearly that it made me shiver. Am I trusting, or am I just falling into a love trap that was set?